There still is this real problem of conservatory-trained musicians not being able to improvise. I mean, a lot of them are just petrified. People that I work with are petrified to read music most of the time. So I'm kind of in this middle ground of wanting to work in both angles. And I think one of the things about KLANG that has been that I've enjoyed and that people seem to respond to is the back and forth between the written, throughly composed, very executed moments and then breaking out into very open improvisation, then going back and forth between those two things. And in my other realm as a concert music composer, I've been trying to incorporate that more into that realm as well. So how can I give these people who are not necessarily improvisers, but how can I give them a lot more choice than just reading it right down from bar one to bar, whatever. And that's been, really interesting to me to work with. And I think for the performers as well. Because to me, improvisation is a very special thing. I feel like when you're hearing an improviser, you are hearing something very deep coming out of what humans have to offer through our art form of music. Sigh is too deep for words. It's an improvisation, but it's also thought of in a very compositional way. It's about an hour-long piece, and though it's fully improvised, I have certainly thought through how I'm going to improvise within it. One could ask then, is it still an improvisation? I would argue, yes, it is. It just has a blueprint to it. And so the whole process then of this piece, an hour-long improvisation is not an easy thing to do. And I don't claim that I do it well. But I do claim that I put myself fully in it, and I commit to that hour, or that 50 minutes, roughly speaking. And so, therefore, the piece is very intentionally meditative, and not so much in the music itself, but just in the sense of what I'm going through. And that's why I wanted to release it as a DVD, so that you can actually watch me do it, watch me make mistakes, watch my facial expressions when I can feel that I've backed myself into a corner that I have no idea how I'm going to get out of. You can see me sweating. You can see me make mistakes on the instrument. You can see me hitting a bell and the bell giving off a weird overtone and me trying to manipulate how I'm going to play with it. But I really feel like it's one of the more pure statements I've ever made as an artist. Every time I do the piece, it's a whole different experience for me and the audience. I just did it a few weeks ago down at Southern Illinois University. I was a guest down there, and I was performing, and it was mostly clarinet players in the audience. And so it had a whole different feel for them, interested in how I was getting these sounds and so forth. I did it not long ago in front of at a theological school, and it took a whole different. Nobody cared about the music; they were interested in more of this contemplative practice part of it, and the meditative part of it, and the prayer part of it, and so forth. So it's the kind of piece that has a little different manifestation depending on the audience. of what creative musicians do is set up situations for themselves in which they are not sure how they're going to get out of it. In improvised music, you're doing that in the blinking of an eye, right? You play a phrase, and that phrase has so many little worlds that it can move into, right? And it depends on what you do next that solves those problems. So you're constantly solving problems in an improvised moment, but you're doing it in front of people, in a club with other people listening and so forth, and you have no time to edit. It's just happening right there. And you fumble and you make mistakes, but you also make successes. And those successes are beautiful because they happen in relationship to the mistakes. And I see that in life in general. I'm really into cooking, and I see the same thing happening there. Your solutions to problems become the good tasting dishes.